Good morning, everyone. Next Generation Weather Forecaster Joe Shocker here from Storm Chaser JS. Going to do another Dorian update here since it is a hurricane, almost a major hurricane as we speak, 110 mile per hour storm category 2 hurricane. So I'm going to be doing this a little bit differently since there's just so much to go over. I decided not to put this on PowerPoint. We're just going to be going through Firefox tabs here as you see here. So let's start off this morning taking a look here at Dorian on the visible satellite imagery. You can still see where my cursor is, so I changed the settings in my recording program, so I'm not able to draw on this for some reason. Firefox will not allow me to do that, but however I can show the cursor as I'm recording this so everyone can see where I'm referring to. Okay, so you see where the arrow is, and this is the visible satellite. And over the last hour or so you've seen, or we've seen all together here, or at least I've seen and been watching this on my phone and other places I've been this morning before getting this stuff together, that we have new convection firing up around the center of circulation. You can start to see that even though we don't have an eye yet, it was trying to get an eye to develop in there. There's been some aircraft reconnaissance in there. We'll take a look at that as well, but there's been possibly two centers of circulation there, and one of those will take over and consolidate, and you'll have one center of circulation. But where the cursor is, you can see we have some nice deep convection just begin to fire up, and it's on the if you will, rotate counterclockwise around the center of circulation, and that shows up quite nicely. And there, let me pull up the cloud top temperatures. You can see that shows up again quite nicely there, where you see those nice black, if you will, circles, and then you have the green warmer eye right in through there. So that shows up quite nicely. And again, that's all beginning to rotate around. Let me go back over here to the visible for just a second, and then you can see the outer bands on the north and west side rotating quite nicely. Hold on a second, I'm just going to grab a sip of water here. But you can see on the north and west side those bands and convection continuing to fire and sustain itself on the north and west side. However, though, on the east and south side, you can see how we have some more high cirrus here. There is some dry air getting wrapped in and around. You can see that quite nicely here on the visible satellite. We have clear skies on the fringe of the northwestern side. So we'll take a look at some of the water vapor here. We're going to start off here with the upper level water vapor. You can see some of this blue here, some of this dry air getting entrained to the system. So there's the upper level water vapor. The mid-level water vapor in the middle layer of the atmosphere looks like this. You can see the yellow here and the blue. Some of this dry air is getting entrained into the system. And then the lower level water vapor here, same thing, the low level dry air around it on the south and west side of the system, and that continues to get infused. But as the storm continues to get stronger and strengthened, it will be able to fight off that dry air that's getting pulled in at various levels of the atmosphere. So that's what this looks like on the GO 16. I guess I did not pull it up. I will pull it up now, though, from Tropical Tidbits, the aircraft reconnaissance that is out there investigating the storm as we speak. So I'm going to go over to our friend Levi Cowan's site. Take a look here at the recon. So this is the current mission that's ongoing. Updated just about 10 minutes ago. You can see one of the planes in there getting the aircraft wind data, and I'll try to click here on one of the plots so you can see where we are. Right now is we've seen pressure again down around 970 millibars, and you can see right now is where it's 1332. We have flight level winds roughly close to 40 knots. We had pressure again in that red dot right over here. We had a 972 reading at 8 o'clock. That was in the advisory, and I'll show you that as well. You can see here as we get between 912 and 932, since it's now 945, we have another dip around probably 972 or so, 973. And again, there it is right here from the National Hurricane Center. That 8 o'clock advisory, 972 millibars with winds of 110 miles an hour, moving off to the northwest at 12. So that is that from the National Hurricane Center, and there's the plots. This is the live feed, and we have another plane in there as well, and this also shows up quite nicely again. The aircraft, the AF302 Recon that's in there, 975, 972, and this was, this is the 925 update, and they're going to make several more passes, and there will be constant feed of aircraft reconnaissance going in and out of the storm over the next several days up until landfall. So this is great that we have access to this stuff like this so we can see minute by minute what's going on in the storm. I'll go over here and drop songs, and I think you can click on these unless this is the picture. Hold on. view another. Okay, so this is how I do it. It's a drop down menu here. So if you view dropson number 1 from earlier this morning, you can see how there's a little bit of dry air. I want to make sure I got the right dropson. I did. Okay, so you can see how there's a little bit of dry air in there, and the dropson. And we saw that on the visible satellite in the infrared here. The water vapor. There's some dry air on the south and western part of that. And now if we go take a look at dropson number 3, you can see much more moist, especially in the lower levels here, up to about 900 millibars. You can see the temperature line in red and the dew point in green, how close together they are. So that's a more moist atmosphere. Again, taking a look at dropson number 3, which is close to the center of circulation, and this hopefully will load. There's dropson number 3. They're close together. Now if we take a look at dropson number 1, you can see how they're further apart. Dropson number 3, nice and close. Dropson number 2, nice and close, very, very moist. Dropson number 6, very, very close. Dropson number 4, further apart. You can see there's some dry air in there. Dropson number 5, and not as dry, but still somewhat dry, but not like we saw in dropson 2 and 3 when you're very close. They're pretty much right on top of each other. The temperature and dew point, again, a very moist and rich environment for strengthening. That's where this data is being observed from this UT. So we took a look at that. We got the National Hurricane Center advisor here. Now we're going to take a look at some of the models. My favorite part, so you can see the European here getting in close. So let me try to get a little bit closer if I can. Okay, so here we are. You can see the European bringing this west and then bringing it in, and my track follows the European. Then it's going to move north up the state, up to the state, and this is valid through next Wednesday afternoon. So here is Saturday night into Sunday. Sunday it's coming through the Bahamas, Nassau. Sunday afternoon, Saturday night, early Monday morning, and then Monday it's offshore, and then it comes in Monday evening, and this is Tuesday morning, then Tuesday afternoon to Wednesday, then Wednesday afternoon to Thursday, and then it'll make that turn northeast and impact Georgia and the Carolinas by the end of next week. So we have about a week to deal with this now, almost a week of impacts, and it's going to be a very long duration event. Again, we've been tracking this for the last few days, and we'll continue to track this for probably about 2 weeks. It's probably going to be about 2 weeks by the time we're all set and done with this entire system. So let me go and look at now the ensembles, because I want to show you some very important ensembles here about this whole pattern that is evolving. And this is, I have a feeling this is going to be quite a lengthy video. I don't know how many minutes I'm into this, but this is sure going to be quite lengthy by the time we're all done talking about this. So I want to show you here the upper heights and the steering behind this. So I'll start over here with the initial. So here we are this morning. You can see, I'll put on a couple things here with the cursor. You can see we have this big ridge off to the east, and we talked about this in the last video, the upper level steering, and how this was going to influence the track of the storm. So you have upper ridge here, upper ridging off to the west. Here's Dorian down here, 585. You have this big trough coming through the northern part of the United States today. And I'll see if I can go to the previous run. Where is it on here? It's at a different location. Okay, oh nice. So I have the previous runs here though. This is really helpful. Okay, so here was yesterday's on the right, and here's this morning's on the left. And you can see the overall subtle differences in the strength of that ridge. And can I step this forward without losing it? Oh, this is sweet. Oh man, this is great. Okay, here we are this evening, 8 p.m. You can see on the left is the I gotta make sure I got these right because on my phone they're the opposite direction of lineup. So on the left side is the current run, and on the right is from yesterday. And you can see the model from the right, and this is good. There's not much change here. Again, you got that big ridge in both of these models, which is good. So there's tonight, and then we get to tomorrow morning, and you can still see the same kind of thing, ridging across the north, which is steering this thing west. That looks very, very good. Tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, and then as we step into Sunday, same kind of steering as it comes west. Sunday night into Monday, Monday night, Monday morning, Monday, and now we're starting to see a difference here. I want to make sure I got the times lined up. Looks like they're in sync with each other when I step these forward. So yesterday's afternoon, you can see where Dorian's here, as you can see, same kind of location. But I want you to notice something, and I don't know if you'll be able to notice it, but I can definitely see it, and you can definitely actually see it with the anomalies. is that you're starting to get a deeper trough now over the eastern part of the United States. And you can notice that if you look at the state of Pennsylvania, there were slightly higher heights over Pennsylvania in the portion, I guess mid-Atlantic into the Carolinas. You can see yesterday there were slightly higher heights, and then this morning here to the left, the heights are slightly lower. So maybe this trough is a little bit deeper come Monday. Monday afternoon, Monday evening, you still see a weakness in both of these runs, but there's a little bit more of a trough now digging into the northeast here on Monday evening. It's more here and less here. This is valid 8 p.m. Monday. And as we step our way into Tuesday morning, the ridge comes back on both of these models, pretty much to say the least. However, there's more trough over the northeast on the model run to the left. And then as we get into Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, actually pretty good agreement at 500 millibars from run to run from the European operational. And then as we start getting into Wednesday, it's up over the northern part of Florida, and there's another shortwave trough coming in behind that, and then it slows down because the ridge builds up. And then by next Thursday and Friday, about a week out, because again, this is going to be around for quite some time. We're not going to get rid of this system, unfortunately, not too quickly. There's another trough coming in over Hudson Bay by next Thursday and Friday, and then by next Friday morning, you have a deeper impulse coming over the Great Lakes, and then there's Dorian, and Dorian doesn't show up as well here on the run from yesterday, but Dorian somewhere over the Carolinas, and then you have a deeper trough, and then after that, after the Carolinas, that should be heading out by next weekend well south of New England. So that's the operational over the next week. I know this is a lot, and certainly it is a lot to look at. Now we're going to take a look here at the means from the ensembles, which we just did, which is great. And I want to go back over here if I can and take a look at the operational 500, which I can as well. And this is the same thing. You can see a deeper trough being shown up in the 0Z run versus the 12Z. So this morning's run is on the left, which is right over here, and yesterday's afternoon run was over here. You can see, we'll have to see how the position of this trough coming through later on in about a week, what it exactly does here. But if I scroll through this again, the operation, you can see there are subtle differences in these shortwave troughs that rotate across the north and eastern part of the U.S. over the next 4 to 6 days, which will influence the exact speed and turn of Dorian. But these subtle differences are very, very important to the forecast down the road. Okay, moving on to the 60 European, which only goes out the 90 hours, and you can see what the European does here through Monday evening. Pretty much almost has it on shore. Here are the intensities. Again, the European is underdone with the intensities, but it does not seem to be impacting the overall track of the storm. So you can see by Monday evening, it has at 9:56 down here, hour 90, 956 millibars coming on in. The wind looks like this. Well, that's a little bit zoomed out, more than I thought it would be. But you can see the wind looks like that. It's hard to see. I'm going to zoom in here on the screen here, and you can see. Let me see, getting closer. So 76 knots offshore. I think it's definitely going to be stronger than that, in my opinion. Probably about 110 knots, 130, 140 mile an hour hurricane category 4 going in there. But again, it just shows the idea of where this is going to be from the 6Z run, which is very consistent with the previous models that we've looked at, the GFS, the European, which is what this is here, the UK Met, you name it. I've gone through it. Now, taking a look, I'm going to close out some of these tabs so I don't get lost in all this. Now, take a look at the 0Z ensembles. Again, this was what we were looking at back over at Weatherbell with the 500 millibar height pattern and the operational as well. You can see very, very good consistency of this northwest and then westerly bend in the South Florida. And then where does it go? Is it on the east side? Is it coming up the central part, or possibly coming up the west side of the state? And you'll see my track at the end of where I'm taking this, but very good consensus. And this black line here is the ensemble mean. So there's 50 members here, supposedly illustrated. Apparently all 50 members have this thing developed, which is good. So the black line is the average of all 50 of these lines. Take all 50 of them, add them up, and that's where the consensus is, that black line there. You can see it coming up in the Carolinas by the middle of next week, then turning on out to sea. But Florida, no question, is going to have an impact there from the ensembles, which I have no problem with at all. And then finally, as we begin to wrap this up, here is my official track. So you can basically see I went right with the European ensemble with this and used the Hurricane Wharf for the intensity. So European ensemble track versus my track, I believe, slightly further south here, given the operational guidance, which I use as well. But overall, it gets the message across that this is going to be a major event coming into the Lake Okeechobee, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale area as we get Monday night into the day on Tuesday. Hopefully staying north of the big city of Miami. Otherwise, that would be a major problem if we bring a high-end wind core in there. As enough, this is bad it is. So you can see here, again, tonight, let's go over this. I have it as a 120-mile-an-hour storm tonight. It could even be stronger than that, given it's already at 110. Anyway, 120 tonight, 130 tomorrow night, 140 coming to the Bahamas on Sunday, and then slowly trekking through the Bahamas as a Category 4. If not even, it may even get to a Category 5. Can't rule that out, but I want to stay on the lower side of this for now, given I don't see too much guidance at 160 miles an hour as of yet, but you never know. It's a small system, and these things are vulnerable to intensity changes. So I think staying on the lower end of intensity guidance is going to be good for now. But 8 p.m. Monday, 145 storm going into the Florida coast, and 145, 150 at landfall, and then weakening dramatically as it continues to move north and then northeast, and then turning out by the middle and end of next week. But if you're in the Bahamas or in the state of Florida watching this, it's time to be taking action as the countdown is on, and there's not too many days left to prepare. That is it for now, and thank you for watching.